Next up, let's briefly talk about what you cut your materials with. If you're doing your plastic kit, plastic clippers, then of course you're going to want to sand those down with needle files, just to get the rough edges out. So that's really all you need to use for plastic kits. For foam kits, this is a standard styrofoam cutter. All it is, it's a battery attached to a wire that heats up and melts the foam as you go through it. You can get these at any hobby store, really. They're usually about $10–15. And I'm actually going to be having those in my online store once that gets up and running. Now there's another product that's very similar to that. It's called a hot knife. Hot knives work kind of similar to the wire cutter, except it actually comes out like a knife. And using that, you can kind of carve. You can slice. I've never actually used one. I'm always been a little hesitant because it doesn't really fit my needs. I usually find that your standard styrofoam cutter works wonderfully. So there's that, and then of course a box cutter. This I generally use for foam board while slicing even edges there. Using a pair of scissors will pinch the foam board, and you don't want that. So using a X-Acto knife or a box cutter works great. So I think finally, there's two other things I want to discuss. Painting. When painting your scenery, if you're doing anything involving foam, do not spray paint it. Don't spray paint it for your base coat. I know this might seem like common knowledge, but there's people that might not know. I mean, I'll be honest, the very first time I did it, the first time I made scenery, this was years ago, it didn't even dawn on me that aerosol melted styrofoam. So if you're doing anything with foam board, it could easily melt the foam that's in between the paper. However, I should put a disclaimer on this. If you're using foam board and you have all of the edges tapered off or taped off, or whatever you want to do, it's like these parts right here, and there's no chance, absolutely no chance of spray paint getting in there, you can try it. I've tried it before and it's always seemed to get in. But if you're feeling brave and you want to speed things up, might as well try it. So okay, what you do want to do, with the spray painting, you should spray paint and base coat your plastic ones. This is just like putting spray paint on your miniatures. Just helps everything, the paint stick better, gives you a different shading to it. So yeah, there's that. So with foam paint, you're gonna want to use good old-fashioned, or for painting foam, you want to use good old-fashioned acrylic paint. You can get that at any hobby store, not Lowe's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, dollar store even. I found plenty of acrylic paint at the dollar store. And the good thing about that is there's usually a wide variety of colors. You can get it relatively cheap. I think this tube cost either $1.69 or $2.69. That was at Walmart. And that's the best way to paint your foam. And I'm not going to go through and tell you how to paint it. Like I said, that will all be on a future tutorial. So there's the paint. Now finally, let's talk about adhesives. Um, there's plenty of different types of glue that you can use to put your scenery together. I personally am a fan of using the glue gun and your standard CA glue. So let's go through and talk about all that. Your standard CA glue, that's what I use for putting miniatures together. It holds really nicely. It's just the CA stands for cyanoacrylate, whatever that is. You can usually get it at Ryder's, a hobby store. Most places carry it. You can even get it online on eBay. I've saw it plenty of different places. So that's what I use. This is what I use for putting my models together because it holds really, really, really well. I can't stress that enough. You know, a dab of this and a spritz from the accelerator, your piece, it really shouldn't come apart unless you're really trying to make it come apart. So that I use for my plastic scenery, for gluing pieces onto the hardboard. You know, I've even used it on a couple pieces of foam scenery when I really needed something to stick. I don't regularly use it, just because for foam I've just always used a glue gun. So okay, now let's talk about glue guns. Your standard glue gun. Your standard glue gun is a you can get it relatively cheap. This one, I think it was like $3-4, and it came with like 5 pieces of 5 glue sticks. Now, what you do with this is you simply just plug it into your nearest electrical socket. You let the tip warm up, pull the trigger, and the glue stick goes through, melts, and you can go ahead and put it where you need it. A couple of tips when using this: don't touch the metal tip when it's on. It gets really, really hot. Always have extra glue sticks handy, and just be careful using it. Also, this stuff can dry kind of fast, so make sure you know where you want your piece to be before you apply the glue, or else you might end up with a piece not exactly where you want it. So there's that. Then finally, there's good old-fashioned white Elmer's glue. This you can pick up a dime a dozen about anywhere you go. The only thing I use that for is basing. I found it doesn't help hold really well when putting foam together, and it's really, to me, it's really only good for putting your basing materials on. So I think that's actually just about it. Go ahead, experiment with different materials, with water pellets, popsicle sticks, got some coffee stirs, tin cans. I mean, all these things are potential for making scenery. And that's the beautiful thing about using making miniature terrain, is that your creativity, that's your only limitation. So just go ahead, start experimenting. Just try and look at things a little bit differently. For me, that was the hardest thing when I first started this. And once you get going, there is no limit. And I think that's all I really wanted to say today. Thanks for bearing with me, even though this has been like, 20-some odd minutes long of just me rambling. And so once again, thanks again for watching. Head on over to my blog, www.drkstudios.com. That's DRK. And go ahead, join that, subscribe to this, and if you have any questions or comments, go ahead, type them in below, or shoot me an email at drk@drkstudios.com. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.